today is the 12th. Remember, we started the experiment on the 9th. I have been watching this thing for a couple of days. They announced their actual earnings per share of CONY, and it's coming in at $1.33, $1.34, whatever that is. So if you do the math, this should be the payout tomorrow. So that will give us that amount of money. So I'll do another video when we actually get to that point tomorrow. Now, I did want to show you guys something, and here's one of the major reasons that you got to have a strong stomach for this. I took screenshots and my computer freaking restarted, so I didn't actually get to show you guys. If you look at the date, on the 9th we bought this, and by the end of the day, the account was actually down like $200 some, I believe. On the 10th, we were actually down another $300, so we had a total gain loss of negative $500 by the second day. On the 11th, it closed up, which put us damn near right to the full. It was like $3 below what we actually started at with $1,500. So that was insane. So then now here on the 12th, we are down $11.47. That's what it closed at. And I asked Tim, I go, is it because CONY is like super volatile? Because if you look here, CONY is very similar to Coinbase because that's literally the underlying stock that this thing's trading on. So it will follow the projected pattern. But if you look here, this doesn't match up. And it's because this massive drop that happened right here, which is first thing this morning, is the dividend announcement. All the other stocks that pay dividends, they drop the price of the actual dividend. I think it's the day before it pays out. But in order to get paid Friday, we needed to be in before this happened. So it's kind of like it is what it is. So if you look at the price point of this thing, it did drop $1.33. I think it's actually up a smidge, like 5 cents above that point where it closed at. So that's kind of interesting. So just so you guys know, that's why this thing is like massively, massively down. You see this massive drop here. But this is the whole point. You guys can't freak out about this because if you look back at the loan, we would have to be owing $374. Well, you're already down that much. Like, that's crazy pants. Like, that's just insane. But we will keep moderating this and show you that it doesn't matter. The principle doesn't matter. The whole point of this is the cash payouts. I asked him about this $1.33, and he said that is a little bit low. But if you look at the actual history of the projection of CONY, even though that's low, they tend to have more of the high payouts. So what we did was we projected going forward this $1.37 because that's like the average of what's going forward. So again, like if we're locking in conservatively, we are going to have some months where that's over the $2 mark, most likely coming up here. So you'll see that when we populate, but this is literally just to fill this chart out to give us an idea. So we should right now be projecting at the 14-month mark-ish, 15-month mark, having this thing paid back with an interest of out of pocket of just under $1,700. All right, guys. So we are back checking in. It is Friday morning you can see on the 13th when the dividend is supposed to come through, and it 100% came through. You'll see that we have total cash of $1175.93, which is a little more than the actual payout because there was $2.88 left over from investing the $15,000 originally. We're up to $14,907, so it's pretty much put you back up to par. So since we are showing the money in here, we're going to try. I don't know if it's actually available in cash yet. We've never actually tried to take money out right after a dividend was paid. So I don't know if they'll lock this in here or not. So we're going to do the online transfer. We are going to do cash only. Yes, cash only. Positions? No, definitely not. So we're moving it from our YieldMax experiment to my Lamo Members First account. And the cash amount is going to be $1173.05 because we're not going to take out that $2.88 just to keep things nice and tidy. One-time payment. Okay, so it did answer my question. It is not allowing me to do it today. According to this calendar, it's forcing me to wait until 16th. We're going to do this anyway because we want it to move as soon as possible. So we're going to click continue. And members first, blah, 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 blah. Yes, yes, agree. We are going to agree. Submit. And we get our pretty little whatever the heck thing. I've entered that amount into my spreadsheet already. And then when I get it over in the other thing, I don't actually have the first payment due until February 1st. So it's actually kind of cool. We're going to probably get 2 dividend payouts before this first payment's even due, I have absolutely no freaking idea how much is actually due with my credit card or with this line of credit. If you log into Members First, I guess it hasn't taken like effect for what you owe with interest and anything yet. So I think if I remember correctly, the last time I did it, it took a while for that to take effect. So if I can actually get some of this paid back in the interim, then that's actually hilarious. And we are on schedule for our 15 months. Tim thinks that it'll actually happen well before that because he's saying that he thinks Coinbase is going to hit like $700 a share by the end of 2025, you said? So that'll be good from a CONY appreciation standpoint. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of volatility along the way, which will also be really good for its payouts. So this is the best humdinger. And again, reason why we chose CONY of all the YieldMaxes for this experiment. So we're hoping we'll have this paid off by the 12-month mark. Tim said it's possible that we may actually do it in 9. Worst case scenario, it's going to be 15. So any way you look at it, that's not bad in any way, shape, or form to basically get $15,000 out of, again, if you only take the interest, $1,658, that's not bad at all. All right, so now that we initiated that payment, you can see that we no longer have that extra money in here. This is now showing that total cash is at $2.88, which is what we originally had after we bought the shares. If you would have reinvested, this would be up closer to the $15,000 that we started with, but we took the money out to put it back in to pay off the debt that we took out. And this is, again, another reason why I could see people really losing by buying back in all these shares. We transferred the money, or we did the transfer initiation. I thought it was actually going to be transferred on the 16th, but that was, I think, showing when it was going to be in my other account. So I'm going to go in there right now so you can see that that's there. All right, so now I'm back in my Members First account, and you can see that we took out the loan, and then we moved the money out. We moved the money out over to Schwab, and now Schwab's already paid back on the 16th. So like the 10th and the 16th, pretty sweet. So we have $1173.05 that we need to put on the loan that we just took out. So as you can see back here in my personal line of credit, it's showing us $15,000 on the thing. And if we come down here to make a payment, and then we want it coming out of my checking account and going towards the personal line of credit, and the amount we want to put in is $1173.05. And I'm just going to stick in here payment 1. Why not? Oh, okay. So look here. This is showing payment $0 due of $225, which is due on February 1st. So it is giving me a payment amount of $225. So that's really good to know that that's what the normal payment would be. So that's actually less than I anticipated. So I'm going to continue. It's confirming and done. The nice part about having your bank and your loan at the same place is it's a really like instantaneous movement of money. So now if we pop over to the line of credit, you'll see that the first payment's already been made, $1173.05. So now we're down to $1,376.57. So that's pretty freaking cool. So the regular payment was $225. I don't know what's going on for interest or whatever. We can back calculate some of this. So I will finagle this around. So I'm a little confused. I threw the numbers in here for like what the loan would be. So if that regular payment, if we can take that as truth based on what that was showing in my account, the $225, if you subtract out what I actually did pay and take the difference of what it should calculated out, I would have had to subtract. So anyway, the interest comes out to be for this specific payment only $49.62. So that is phenomenal. And again, I don't know if that is because I'm paying this off well before the actual initial first payment date of February 1st. And I know they calculate interest based on whenever the heck they do it. So we'll see for the next one if this stays consistent. So that's also very interesting. And like I said before, this is the average. This earnings per share is going to be the average of what we've seen in our account over the last year of holding CONY. So that's actual real-time data versus the current yield, which is only based on the last dividend payout. So if you looked at last month's before this one came out on the 13th, you would have seen that CONY was paying out 142%. I think now it's only showing at like 108. Those interest rates don't come out as accurately as you'd like them to because the fees are taken out when they do the payouts. So it'll be a little bit less. So my math didn't make sense in the first couple. Like that's why it wasn't adding up. But this should be a very lucrative experiment because so far already, if that's the thing, that's already lowered our interest down significantly. And we've already taken the risk of our holdings in general down 7.49%. Wow. I can't wait to see. Unfortunately, we will not see what the next payout's actually going to be until mid-January. You'll have to hold tight. This is going to be a long-term experiment. But if we do check in on the share price, so we did buy in at 17.12, and yeah, so we're down almost an entire dollar from when we bought in, up around the 17.12. Way up here, it's dropped down. Yeah, it's over a whole dollar down. So it is what it is. Like I said, price doesn't matter with this whole thing. And as of right now, this is kind of looking like you will get your dividend payout, and then this will just go to zero, and then what's left in your payout, like, you'll be basically breaking down to zero. So you'll be taking out a loan to just pay the bank back and be at zero, but that's not how this works, because you'll keep the shares and the shares will keep paying you out. And the other thing you have to understand is that because CONY is based on Coinbase, and Coinbase's fluctuations typically move based on like Bitcoin in the crypto market, that thing is all over the freaking place. I think Bitcoin just hit 106. Again, it's just one of those things. And YieldMax is very, very prone to that NAV decline, which is, I think, how people lose money in these things. Taking that initial principal out, whether you get it through the loan like we just did or using your own cash, is like primary key to reduce your risk in these babies. You'll see what happens long term and how we actually do make money from these and why we're willing to actually borrow money to do this.